Hello Super Friends and welcome to DC TV Talk, and in today's episode we're going to be breaking down and reviewing Legends of Tomorrow Season 4 Episode 4 entitled Wet Hot American Bummer. And if you haven't seen this episode, make sure you have before you proceed with this review because it will be filled with spoilers. So last week, you'll know, I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of Episode 3. I think that Legends last week really let me down, and overall, this season has been a bit weird for me. So I've been really looking for this episode to really boost my confidence back in the show and back in the season, and I have to say, it has done that. Now, before I dive into the review itself, I do want to just kind of address something. I will do a full video on this because there is a bit more to talk about, but I just want to address it here. There have been a lot of rumors recently that Legends of Tomorrow is going to get cancelled this season because of extremely low ratings, and also the CW has taken Legends of Tomorrow off of its spring schedule. Obviously, I'm just letting you guys know that Legends of Tomorrow is basically, after its mid-season finale, is not going to be returning until April. So we're going to be taking like a 4-month hiatus with Legends, kind of like what Supergirl did last season. So that's what's happening. Personally, I don't know what the reason is. I've heard a couple of different reasons. I've heard that maybe they're rewriting the back half of the season to make it the final season. I've heard that, you know, it could be something to do with the fact that iZombie's coming back in that time period. So, you know, I don't really know exactly what the reason is. I'll fully go into it in a video later on this week. But I'm just letting you guys know Legends of Tomorrow is taking a bit of a break come mid-season. But this episode of Legends of Tomorrow specifically starts out with Sara and Ava watching a Netflix movie called Swamp Thing, and obviously you'll get the reference there if you're a DC Comics fan, and they realise that something's a bit wrong with this as it's based on true events, and they realise that something's gone wrong in the timeline. And this is where we see them go to Constantine and say, yeah, you know, we have this swamp monster, blah, blah, blah. And obviously we do get Constantine basically name drop Swamp Thing. And I do love his line about it. He says, I know somewhat of a Swamp Thing. And he says, but he wouldn't be in Maine. That's way too far north for even that Muppet. And I think that's just a really good line. Just the fact that he clearly knows Swamp Thing and he's clearly in relation with Swamp Thing was really good. Although we'll probably never see Swamp Thing in this universe, given the fact that he's getting his own TV series on the DC universe. It's just really cool to know that their connection is there and that Constantine knows him and is, you know, he's out there. I really like that. Now, our legends go to the camp in this episode. They go to summer camp, and I thought this was a really fun idea. All of them kind of becoming, you know, camp representatives and things like that was really fun. All the stuff with, like, Sara and Ava in this was really good. They're kind of, because Ava actually comes on the mission with the legends this week, which was nice. I've been waiting for this because I think Jess McCallan is great, and, you know, I really want to see her get more involved in the action. And she gets to do that here. She is with Sara for a lot of the episode. She's basically with Sara and their little group of kids who they look after. And I thought their dynamic was great, as it always is. Sara and Ava are fantastic. They're some of my favourite things this season. I love them. And just seeing them all together was great. And also, like, Ray, who, obviously, knowing Ray, he was a part of, you know, many summer camps, and he was the gung-ho guy about it, you know, he's like, you know, the typical ranger who's got all of his badges and things like that. And it was really fun to see him be, like, this really enthusiastic camp leader, like Ray tends to be. So that was really fun. All of the camp stuff, I think, was just, like, an interesting place to take the Legends, because, obviously, it is something very out of left field. It's very different, but something for the Legends to actually experiment with. And especially when you throw Constantine into that mix, with Constantine basically being the overweight beat dad who is basically drunk all the time to these kids, was also quite amusing. And I really liked his playoff with the other characters as well. That was really funny. And I enjoyed all of their playoffs together in this camp storyline. I thought it was really entertaining. Now, Ray and Constantine actually get to spend a lot of time together in this episode as they're kind of paired off. You have Sara and Ava in one pair, and then you have Ray and Constantine in another pair. And I thought their playoff together again was really funny, because kind of like, you know, what I've said before about other Arrowverse shows, this is a pairing that you just wouldn't expect, because again, they're like completely polar opposites of characters. You've got, you know, Ray, who's basically the White Knight, and then you've got Constantine, who is the Dark Knight, not to do a Batman reference there, but, you know, that you get what I mean. You know, they're completely polar opposite characters. So to see them actually working together and having some fun dialogue together was also just a really awesome thing to see. They had a lot of funny dialogue. You know, Constantine is always a very funny character, so see his playoff with Ray, especially because he hasn't really experienced Ray's, like, gung-ho positivity yet, so this was kind of like his first way of doing it, and I enjoyed that. And all their scenes together, again, like, the way they kind of played off was that, you know, this camp group of boys that they were looking after, you know, Ray was, like, you know, the really good one, and then, you know, Constantine was kind of like the cool one, things like that. It just worked really well, and their dynamic played off together really well too. Now, all of our legends start realizing that a few kids keep going missing overnight, and this is when they realize that, you know, Sara realizes, you know, they're going to have to infiltrate these kids in order to actually find out what's happening. So Constantine comes up with this potion that Sarah and Ava have to drink in order to basically become kids. And I was a little bit worried with this because I thought, are they going to do some weird CGI thing where you're going to like superimpose Katie Lott's and Jess McCallan's face onto like a smaller body? But and I thought that would have been really cheesy and that would have been too far, and I wouldn't have liked that at all. But what I really liked and respected is that they actually got two young actresses to play a young version of Sarah and a young version of Ava to actually play these kids. So you actually get more of these characters than you do our regular Sarah and Ava. And I have to say, the two young actresses who played Sarah and Ava were really good. They were really convincing as kids. I like the fact that Sarah obviously kind of knew what she was doing. She was cool. She was down with the kids. Ava was a bit more awkward and a bit more kind of all over the place. Because one thing I loved about this episode that it addressed, which I actually kind of forgot about, was that Ava is a clone. And Ava didn't grow up as a child. Like, she was made. You know, she was like, she basically comes out fully formed as, you know, a perfectly functional, you know, average age human woman. And I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about that storyline last season, that Ava was a clone. So, you know, she's like, I didn't have any childhood memories. I don't know how to act like a kid. I've never been a kid. I don't know how to do that. And again, it was really sweet and sentimental, actually. And I like the fact that Sarah was helping her out with that. That was really good. Because, like I say, I completely forgot about that, and I thought that was a really nice way to bring that back up in a really nice way, but also, you know, keep it in the comedic sense of Legends. I thought that was really clever, and I really enjoyed all that. And, you know, you kind of figure out that, oh, you know, what people like to do in the summer camp when they do escape is, you know, when they do sort of run away, is they like to have their first kiss. That's kind of what they do. And, you know, Ava has that moment where she's like, well, I never really had my first kiss as a child, blah, blah, blah. And then it actually ends with Sarah and Ava kissing. Luckily, you don't actually see the two young girls kissing. They do change it last second to, you know, Katie Lotz and Jess McCallan, which was good. I think that would have been a bit of an issue if they would have done the other way around. But overall, all this young Sarah and Ava stuff, I really liked. I actually thought it was really good. The actresses were great. And like I say, bringing that clone storyline of Ava's back up in a smart and intelligent and organic way was something I didn't expect, but something that worked really well. Now, the other sort of storyline going on in this episode is we still have Charlie, played by Maisie Richardson-Seller, captured inside of the Wave Rider. She's kind of being looked after by Zari, and then basically they kind of have a bit of a fight. Zari and Charlie are not exactly getting on, but then we actually see Mick and Charlie actually have a bit of a connection. So Mick and Charlie, they're actually quite similar characters when you think about it, although their personalities are completely different. You know, in terms of their background, in terms of who they are, they're quite similar. And I really liked their playoff because they were really fun together. They kind of relate over the fact that they're both kind of criminals. They've both been in prison, you know, things like that. And they're both kind of talking about it. And I thought that was really fun. So it seems like Mick and Charlie are actually going to have a bit of a dynamic. I wonder if they'll go down the romantic route with these two. I hope not. I've never really thought about Mick in a romantic sense. I've never really, because they've never given Mick a love interest, like, at all. But, I mean, they did it for Captain Cold in Season 1 with Sarah, so who knows. They could do it. I think it'd be interesting, but I don't really know if they would do that with Mick in particular, just because of his type of character. But their dynamic together I really enjoyed. I thought they were really fun. Yeah, again, because they are similar characters, so they work well together. And I enjoyed their playoff together. I thought they were fun, and it was just a nice little addition I didn't expect. Again, just an unexpected pairing that I didn't really see coming, but worked really well for this episode. So Mick basically allows Charlie to walk around on the ship and walk free, basically just prison breaks her, essentially. And basically, when Sarah comes back, she's like, right, where's Charlie? She kind of struts back into the room with her new look, and I have to say, Maisie Richardson-Seller looks absolutely incredible in this. Just her punk rock look, the hair, it's so on point, it looks fantastic. And seeing her walk in, especially with the music they use, it's like really badass. Like, she comes onto the stage, it's like, yes, I mean business, let's just go. And I really like this. You know, it's just really fun. Her accent is great. Because I was surprised. I thought they were going to give Maisie Richardson-Seller her natural British accent, because she's actually very posh and distinguished in real life, whereas in here she's a bit more Cockney British in this version of her. So I was surprised that they haven't given her a natural British accent, but given her character, obviously it works, you know, extremely well. And again, I just love her look, and I can't wait to see what she brings to the season, how much she's going to, you know, do in the season, how much she's going to grow as a legend, and I really enjoyed her overall. Can't wait to see what she does next. And after Constantine is kind of injured after using so much magic at one time, basically Ray says, look, I know somebody with magical abilities who could help. Obviously he's referencing Nora Dark, and we do see Nora. I'm not quite sure what she was doing. She looked at some kind of like food festival making this soup that was absolutely abysmal according to the judge. But Nora is going to be in next episode. Obviously, we do know that Nora is a series regular this season, so she's going to be coming into it, and that's really awesome. I really like that, so, you know, Nora's going to be there. Obviously, Obviously, I think they're going to do the Ray and Nora love interest. They're hinting at that very, very heavily. So this is going to be fun. I liked Nora last season. I thought she was a good addition. So she's going to be a full-time member. I'm happy with that. And we now have the setup. My only real negative with the episode is the episode title itself. Although I get the reference, obviously Wet Hot American Summer, I just don't really get what it means in regards to the episode, unless they intentionally meant that, unless it intentionally doesn't mean anything to the episode, it's just a funny play on words, which I guess it could be, but I really thought that maybe Gary was going to be involved in this episode or something, because obviously we do know that Gary is gay, or at least bisexual. I thought maybe they were going to do something with that, unless they mean Constantine, who we also know is gay or bisexual, so I don't know, I just felt like the episode title was a bit strange, although I think it's very funny. I just don't really know what it meant in terms of the episode, but like I say, they might just be using it purely as a play on words. Also, just as a bit of facts for you, Nate was not in this episode at all. Nick Zano did not appear whatsoever. And if you're wondering why that was, this was actually a point in time in filming when Nick Zano's wife actually had a child. So he was actually spending time with his family, with his newborn baby. So if you're wondering where Nick Zano was, where Nate was in this episode, that's what he was doing, a bit of IRL stuff. Overall, I had a lot of fun with Wet Hot American Bummer. I thought this episode was really fun. I enjoyed it, had a lot of good elements, a lot of strong moments to it. Again, all the stuff with Sara and Ava, I really enjoyed. The dynamic between Mick and Charlie is something I want to see develop. I really enjoyed everything about this Nora Darhk coming into the fold now, which is really fun. So, overall, this episode was much, much better than what we got last week. You know, I really didn't like last week's episode. I've been a bit worried for Legends. I am still worried for Legends in terms of its lifespan. Like I say, I'll talk about that later, but you know, I think that this episode still, in its own right, was really individually entertaining, and I hope that they continue to do this. I think next episode looks good as well, so let's just hope that maybe last week was just a dip in the road. Well, what did you guys think about this episode? Make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And how are you feeling about Legends overall this season? What are your thoughts about it? Are you enjoying it? Are you in the middle? Or are you not liking it so much? Let me know your thoughts about this episode and Legends Season 4 overall in the comments down below. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow. And with all that said guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.